Hi, my name is Travis Fredrick. I'm here to present on a case study for my integrated business analysis class on Black Entertainment Television, BET. Here on this page, this is the contents of my presentation. It is a company background, some major points of problems for BET networks. I also have a page for questions for reference. I call it questions for reference because these are questions that I brought up in my case study for readers to read and to kind of get a grasp or understanding of where I was going with this case study. I'll present a conclusion of what I think, which is a very small conclusion, and I'll show a couple of references as to where I got some of the information from to build the case. Company background. BET was launched on January 25th, 1980, which was about 36 years ago. The program block was on Nickelodeon. July 1st, 1983, about 32 years ago, it became its own 24-hour TV channel. The business was originally owned by Robert L. Johnson, a successful entrepreneur from about 1980 to 2001. Then became a billionaire when Viacom decided to purchase it in 2001 for $3 billion. And it still owns the rights to the channel today. The slogan that BET adopted was, "We got you." And they still have continued to do that through their programming. They've also started new programs like Centric, BET Centric, as well as a host of different award shows and TV shows for viewing on BET Network. Major problem number one. A wide range of people have protested elements of BET's programming in their actions. People like Spike Lee, Chuck D from Public Enemy, which was a successful rap group in the 1990s. Journalists like George Curry. They've all protested that BET shows some suggestive programming, and some of the movies and TV shows and videos that they show have a lot of strong language and a lot of unnecessary imaging. So with that, BT has, I can say, they've gone on to try to edit some of these videos, and since in situations where they've actually cut out scenes from movies, also cut videos in half in order to try to address this particular problem that they've been having on BET, trying to be as socially conscious as possible. Major problem number two. There are many scholars within the African American community that maintain that BET perpetuates and justifies racism by affecting the stereotypes held about African Americans, in the sense that they're saying that BET shows a wide array of programming that may particularly show the African American community in a bad light. One in particular I know that they got canceled was BET, the college tour or the College Hill, which was a programming that they did in early 2000s that allowed you to go on the campus, on an HBCU campus, and follow a couple of students that lived on the campus. And the show did probably everything but show, academic, what it was like to be an academic student at these HBCUs. It showed a very wide array of partying and social behavior that was not consistent with what I believe the African American community was used to from the BET network. So this became a very strong and major problem that BET has had. Major problem number three, that because of the negative stereotypes that are being perpetuated on BET network, allegedly, the youth of the African American community, they're being said that the psyche is being affected by the negative images being displayed. By showing these negative images with some critics, it is said that the African American community youth have now gotten a bad sense of what it is to be African American, what we hold dear in our community, and what morals we hold, and that those morals are being challenged by the things that BET is showing or are showing on their network. And so they've come under a lot of criticism and a lot of backlash for that, in the sense that they've had protests by groups like Enough is Enough, who have gone outside the actual studios of BET and pushed that, programming on BET has become uh, below brow, so to speak, for those persons who grew up in 1980 watching BET. Major problem number four: many people have, as stated before, many people have boycotted the network and has lost faith in the network's ability to show meaningful programming. In a sense, as it kind of piggybacks a little bit onto problem three, but to say the least, that they have been under a lot of crossfire as it pertains to people in the African American community, who have felt and who still feel that BET doesn't show any uh, programming that is befitting of our community, such as one of the programs, BET Uncut, which was a program actually when I was a child I kind of grew up watching. It came on late at night. You used to sneak into the TV to watch it at night after your parents went to bed. But it showed a lot of the graphic music videos that our artists back then used to put out that they couldn't show during daytime. So BET drafted this program called Uncut, which was actually pretty successful um, in my eyes. But of course, when you have people breathing down your neck as a network, and you have people who are showing that that is not befitting of a network to do those type of things, then it became a thing where BET had decided to discontinue that programming. And now, to be honest, they don't really show too much music videos at all, which is one of the things that got BET very popular, such as the show 106 in Park. Major problem number five, which is one of the things that'll be coming up pretty soon, if any of the viewers of this video have noticed, TV one of BET's competitors, is rolling out new shows and new diverse programming, which has picked up traction in the viewing base of the BET network. A lot of the African American community, which is the group that BET targeted as its viewing audience, a lot of them are starting to pick up watching TV One, because TV One is starting to offer new programming that allows that shows our community in a different light. It's showing programs that's putting positive spins on some of the things that BT is supposedly perpetuating through their programming. TV One has taken a stance to kind of make programming that addresses those issues, but addresses those issues in a positive way, and showing the other side of what it's like being, such as being a generational issue in the African American community, of pregnancy at an early age. They have new programming out now where it shows a mother and a daughter who had children at the same age of 16, but showing how they're positively changing that, how they're working, how they went to school, and how they continue their lives. This is the type of programming that some of the people who have protested BET has been looking for BET to outroll and bring out on their network. But when you have competition such as MTV and VH1 who are showing those type of things, BET kind of falls in the conundrum where they don't know exactly, I don't believe, what programming they can offer that is going to satisfy the ratings and get those sponsorships, or to satisfy the viewing community of the BT network. Questions for reference. What ways can BET change the negative perceptions of their programming? I brought this question up because that seems to be one of the bigger things to do, is to what ways can BET change their negative perceptions of people in their programming. The second question: how do they manage the production of new content while pleasing their viewing audience? Which is something I just said a little on the last slide. That's one of the things BT is having an issue with. From gathering and feeling and looking up some things on some views from prior BT executives. How do they produce premier programming that'll get those viewers and get those sponsorships from companies who are willing to, who look at BT as a viable network, while also pleasing the viewing community of BT, and to not so-called perpetuate those negative black stereotypes. And three, has BT strayed from their original offering of positive imaging of African Americans in low-cost television? One of the things that BT prided themselves on in the beginning was showing African American uh, people in a light. They had political shows that talked about the political bias and political stance of America. They had programs that showed that showed HBCUs, which are historically black colleges and universities, in positive light, such as their athletic programs and highlighting schools on their BT College tour, allowing people to kind of see the positive impact of being in an HBCU, and some and a few other things, such as the gospel channel, the gospel net part of the channel where they showed gospel videos on Sundays. Uh, has BT? I brought that question up to ask so that you can kind of go to figure out exactly, has BT strayed from their original offering, and will they be able to? Um, do you think they'll be able to go back to that, or do they need to find a new way of pushing BT network? Conclusion. Maybe diversification is the future for BET, or just following the original game plan, but one thing is certain, BET has their work outlined for them as they move into very crucial years. With us having a African American president, to us going to leadership that we're not too quite sure of in America, it's not to say that it's not to say that I am on the political side of anybody, but to say that we are in going into very uncertain times as it pertains to what can be said, what can be done. BET strong has a strong they have a strong, this is their chance to take a strong stance on where they want to be and what type of network they want to become in the future. And if they don't make the right step, BET can become a non-existent program like one of their competitors, which was Black Family Television, which was ran by Robert Townsend. It closed in 2001, actually, which is quite interesting when Viacom bought BET. But right now, those are the things that BET is looking. Those are the things that I'm looking at BET having issues with in the future. Here are some of my references. So, brings me to the last part of my presentation. Any questions, please comment below on the YouTube page. I'll try to get to them and answer the questions as the best of my ability. I will also upload my actual case study for you to kind of look at and kind of look through. Thanks for viewing my presentation.